There are several ways to cut Gyproc Habito. Score and snap. When you need to trim more than 150 mm from the length or width of the board, a standard retractable knife can be used. To ensure correct leverage can be applied to the board, we recommend you score and snap with the boards on the pallet or off a trestled work area. This allows you to apply the required downward pressure. We will start with an example of a 600 mm cut width of board. Measure and mark out the section to be cut here down the middle of the plasterboard. Score as you would for any plasterboard, applying sufficient pressure to cut through the paper liner. Position the board so the section to be removed is overhanging the pallet or trestle bench. Push down on the area to be snapped off. Once the board starts to break, fold or hinge the board downwards and finally snap the board back up on itself. You do not need to score both sides as you would with normal plasterboard. However, this technique can also be used as an alternative. The same technique can be used for smaller sections, as we will now demonstrate with a 150 mm width of board. After you have measured and marked out the section to be cut, score as you would for any plasterboard, applying sufficient pressure to cut through the paper liner. Position the board so the section to be removed is overhanging the pallet or trestle bench. Push down on the area to be snapped off. Once the board starts to break, fold or hinge the board downwards and finally snap the board back up on itself. A single pass with a surform should be sufficient to provide the perfect finish to the edge as demonstrated. For smaller cuts, which are less than 150 mm, the board should be cut with either a handsaw, jigsaw or electric plunge saw with guide rails. For smaller offcuts around door or window details, we recommend the use of a fine-toothed saw. Cutting Gyproc Habito with a handsaw is very similar to cutting through timber-based materials. For multiple boards, we recommend a circular plunge saw, which is linked to a dust extraction system. For ease of use, we suggest you cut directly from the pallet or a trestled work area. Having marked the upper board ready for cutting, ensure the boards to be cut are overhanging other boards, so you do not cut into the boards below. Ensure the edges and sides of the boards are aligned, so you cut the same amount off each of the boards. Set the depth gauge on the saw to cut through the number of boards required. We are using a 75 mm plunge saw, suitable for cutting a number of boards in one pass. The plunge saw we are using also has a guide rail supplied, which you align with your marked edge. This has rubber running its length to ensure it does not slip prior to or during cutting. As you can see, cutting with either of these methods provides an excellent finish that does not require any further treatment. It's important to note that there are a number of power tool manufacturers who have plunge saws and guide rails on the market. Tip: if you measure then cut multiple boards, this will be quicker than score and snapping single boards in the area being boarded.